100% up high. Welcome back to another episode of Black Ice Reality Check, the #1 podcast right now where the truth will set you free. I have a special guest on the show, and he just moved here from California, right? Via Washington State, where I'm from.
Yep.
Welcome, Glenn Lawrence.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Glenn Lawrence.
Man, thanks to have you down here. Tell people what you do.
Oh, man.
Or your background.
All right, so military, prior military, former corrections officer, former bodybuilding competitor in classic physique. I'm an actor, producer, writer, and podcaster. I'm part of Rollo's team on Rule Zero, and we just did a fun project yesterday with Robert Kiyosaki.
I saw that. Well, I got to meet him.
Yeah, so.
And so you're working with Rollo on some stuff, and then talk about your background and your studies.
Yeah, I also got a degree in religious studies and theology. I was a youth pastor, too.
Really?
Yeah, I was the youth pastor in Washington State.
You're like, which church, if you don't mind me asking, or can we talk about?
So, no, it was just non-denominational.
Foursquare non-denominational?
Yeah, it was like, it fell under like something like that, yeah.
I probably was up there. I mean,
you probably didn't go to the church. It was small.
Wow, okay.
But I mean, we had a lot of connections. We did work with a lot of I went to Haiti, and I did ministries out in Haiti.
Wow.
Yeah, in 2017, I was out in Haiti. That was fun.
It's dangerous.
It was cool. You know, those kids are amazing, so.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? It was so bad. This is what's crazy is like in Haiti. So I was competing at the time. Like I was in the middle of prep and I had to go to Haiti and do this thing for a week. And so I go to Haiti and I'm like, dude, like my meal plan has to be tight, right? I got to be on my protein intake. And they don't have a whole lot of food out there. And I was like, and they were just trying to network with me. Like, okay, what do you need? I was like, I need like 36 eggs for the week that I'm there. Because they don't have chicken. Everything's very high carb, diet.
They don't have chickens.
Very little. Like it's very hard for them to get like meat out there.
Do they eat the chickens? Is that why they don't have them?
No, they eat everything's high carb. High carb. Like they'll give you like a pound of rice.
What?
Yeah. And like little bit of meat. So I'm out there, right? And they're like, they wanted me to go out there so bad. And I was bringing like a bunch of youth group kids that are out there too. And so I go out there and they have like 36 count of eggs in our like little area, and they're like, "This is for you." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" Like they're just so nice.
Wow.
And then you come over here in America, and I went to like Jamba Juice, and the lady was like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Just take me back to Haiti. I just want to go back to Haiti."
Well, I saw hospitality go down a lot with COVID.
Oh, this was before COVID. This is 2017.
But did you come back to Washington, though?
Yeah.
Well, Washington State, man, people have the Seattle freeze up there.
Well, it's like, you know what? I think it's the gray. The gray just makes everybody just
There's some frumpy people there. I noticed that right away when I moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, people are so nice. They're like, people are mean down here. I'm like, are you kidding me? Have you been to Seattle?
Seriously.
Dude. Anyway, so I want to talk about, and we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about? And I think you're the perfect person for this because this isn't, obviously, it's not a debate, but it's more of a conversation about how you cross paths between the red pill and the Bible.
Well,
the correlation. How do you blend the two? Because there's some crossover, right?
Yeah. There's a lot. There's actually more crossover than a lot of people want to acknowledge. Like they don't want to acknowledge it, and there's a lot of crossover. I mean, you think about the red pill. I mean, if you really want to say what the red pill is simply this. Here's the facts of what is. This is men and women's dynamic, right? This is how men behave. This is how women behave. This is our mating strategies. This is, just there's information about the sexes.
But it's interesting before, though, it seems like it started more political red pill, then it went more relationship red pill.
Actually, I think it was originally relationship red pill.
Okay.
So it's Rollo Tomas. I mean, Rollo's been doing this for 20 years.
Right.
And So Suave and all these other forums, right? And the PUAs, and this is where the church really hates the fact that the PUAs were talking about female nature,
yeah,
and it conflicts with their blue-pilled biblical understanding of female nature, right? So they're like, no, these guys are bad, right? Well, what the red pill is, it just tells men and women, like, look, this is what our track record is how we behave, right? This is how women innate mating strategy is. This is male innate mating strategy. And it conflicts with this romanticized version of what men and women are supposed to be. And then when you add religion into it, right? And then you take a tainted passage like the way that they understand love, right? That we're all equal. In Ephesians, where it talks about love and marriage, it doesn't tell the wife to love her husband.
Really?
It tells the husband to love his wife. But it does not tell the wife to love their husband.
That's new. I mean, I didn't read that.
So I'm gonna pull it up here.
No, I believe you. I'm just saying.
I like reading it verbatim. Okay, so I'm very. I don't ever just say something and then it not be what it is. We got a slip and fall in aisle 4.
Wow, did you spill that on the gear? No, I didn't. Oh, wow, okay.
And that's your son? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know that guy.
You don't know that guy? All right, so Ephesians, for those that are reading at home, turn to your Bibles, Ephesians 5. We'll start from 21, and I'll read it to you, okay? So first 21, it's right here, okay? So you go there. All right, so submit to one another out of reverence to Christ. What does that mean? It's not like, oh, men need to submit to women, women need to submit to men. No, it's submit to your roles. Submit to the roles that God has created for you, right? So men lead, women follow, right? Submit to those roles. That's what that means there. Wives, submit yourself to your own husbands as you do the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, which is his body, and which he's the Savior of. Now, as the church submits to Christ, also wives submit to their own husbands in everything. What does that mean? What does in everything mean?
Everything.
Does that mean when she wants to?
No.
When it's convenient for her?
No.
When she feels like it?
It's in everything.
Exactly. So we got that, right? Then we got husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church, gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by washing her through the water and the word, and presents her to himself as a radiant church without stain, wrinkle, or blemish, and to be holy and blameless. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives like they love himself. A man doesn't hate himself, but loves himself because he feeds and takes care of his own body, just as Christ does the church. We are members of the body. For this reason, a man leaves his father and mother, and the two unite, become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but what I'm talking about is Christ and the church. However, each one of you must love his own wife as he loved himself, and wives must respect her husband.
Interesting.
So
when a woman says, "Oh, I just fell out of love," and then they get to, because I've had that. I've talked to these women about this, Glenn. It's like, well, why did you get divorced? Well, the attraction wasn't there. I just fell out of love. I'm like, what? What does that even mean? Because to me, you're. How are you distracted from that? What happened? What changed? You're watching these Notebook movies, these Titanic movies, and the reality is nobody's doing that shit. Nobody's fucking showing up with roses every day.
I am not going to die for some bitch that I just met.
Right.
I am not going to say, I will kick her off that wood. Okay. I ain't Jack.
Have you seen that meme, that meme video where like the woke version? Okay, men and children first. Right? Have you seen that?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like I'm going to go to this verse again. It tells husbands to do one thing and tells wives to do two things. Wives, submit to your husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Okay?
Wives, plural or singular?
Well, here we could get into that too. I just did a whole show on that, on polygamy. And actually, polygamy is not a sin.
Well, okay, biologically.
Well, let me finish.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
So wives have to submit to their husbands. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, respect your husbands. So when wives say, I fell out of love with my husband, that was never your job to begin with. Your job was to respect and submit to him. He was supposed to love you. So when I hear women say like, I love my man, that's great, but do you respect him? Do you submit to him?
See, that's the thing. When the respect is gone, there's nothing left.
Exactly.
There's no peace. There's no happiness.
The people that say they loved you, aren't they the same ones that have hurt you?
Yes.
But the people that respect you, that don't like you, but they respect you, have they hurt you?
No.
Why do you think respect's so much more important to men than it is to women?
Facts. That's strong shit.
I mean, it's biblical.
Well, it's interesting too, because all these conversations and these debates, we get in this situation where it's like the tides have turned, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's this masculine, and I hate using the word energy, but it's I'm gonna do this. I don't need a man. I'm gonna do this. And I brought up with this gal that was on here, and I said, do you know why men have a hard time being with a woman that has a child from a previous man. There's a lot of reasons, but I went back to the vertical alignment. Don't be unevenly yoked, right?
Yeah.
God first, right?
Yeah.
And then as a man, you have to take care of your family, right?
Yep.
But you put yourself or your wife, right? I don't know the exact vertical alignment, but I said, here's the point. I said, a single mother that ends up remarrying or being in a relationship with another man has a hard time putting him before her child.
Yep.
And the girl's like, oh, that would never happen. I said, that's exactly why you're single, because you don't understand how to put the man first.
You'll see, and that's what the problem with the modern church is. The modern church teaches men that you put God, wife, your kids, your dog, then you. Okay? But the way it's supposed to be, the hierarchy God created for the family, God is over Jesus. Jesus is over you as a man. Man is over woman. Woman over kids. There's an order.
Right. That's and I talk about that. I said God, the man, the woman, the children, right?
Yeah.
And then also on the side, in parentheses, the revenue stream that's taking care of the family is viable. Obviously, you don't put your job before your family, but it is important and viable. And if she's cutting you out at the knees and preventing you from making that revenue, you can't take care of your family. Now, I'm gonna segue over into something else, because you just brought this up, and I've always questioned this.
What?
I'm not as biblically astute as you or understand theology like you. We see different versions in the Bible, and it's always crossed my mind. Is Jesus God or is God God?
Okay, here we go. So
And I'm not. This is not a debate.
No,
I'm inquisitive because Jesus is God. It's like, well, then who's he talking to as his father? And then, and I'm going to add into this because you can take this over. Then in every biblical book, the Quran, not the Quran, but the Hindu version, Christianity, even the Book of Mormons, but they added a book.
They wrote their own book.
Right. They added a book to the Bible, right? Catholicism left some scriptures out.
You mean like the one that says, thou shalt not worship engraved images?
Boom. Right. And
the second commandment.
Right. They say, oh, we don't want that one. Because
we just want to worship Mary over here.
Right. So here's my point. This ball of fire from the sky.
Yeah.
This chariot.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm thinking about it. It's like, is there a scripture in there that says God created Jesus in the image of man? Is there anything in there that says?
No, God. It says, okay, so.
Because you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah. So it says in the beginning, the Word was with God, and God was with the Word, and the Word was God.
Okay.
The Word is Jesus. That's what they're phrasing it as. That when John's writing, I think it's John or Matthew, they're writing it. They're saying they're pointing back to Genesis, okay, where in the beginning God created man in our image. So who is God talking to in our image? He has to be talking to somebody, right? So he's not talking to the angels, right? Because God created the angels, and the angels don't look like God. So he said, I created man in our image. Well, then who's our image? Jesus already had to be there.
Okay, so here's my question. We don't know who God is. We picture who God is. Is it feasible? Now, this isn't blasphemy. Theoretically, what's to say aliens didn't create scripture and say, okay, we're going to create a God, and then he's going to create this man, Jesus, that did these great feats, right? Separated the oceans. Walked on water, Moses, right? So,
Jesus walked on water, Moses.
Moses separated the ocean. Jesus walked on water, right?
Yeah.
Created wine, right? Out of the
water,
right? So all these miracles happen. I don't doubt that miracles happen. There's 1,300, 1,800 scrolls, evidence that proof existed. I've read that book.
Yep.
And there's only like 300 scrolls that a Caesar ever existed. That's why people say, how do you know there's Jesus? Well, people from all over the world wrote about it that saw it. But is it feasible to say that like the Sumerians or another race created, okay, these people are out of fucking control. We need to get them stabilized here. Okay, we're going to create these commandments, and then we're going to create, Moses is going to go find these things. We're going to create Jesus. He's going to do these great things. Is it feasible to say that the chariot of fire that came from the sky, what was that?
I think it said exactly what it is, a chariot of fire.
Okay, but it was interpreted by different races and religions, and they all said they saw this thing come from the sky. Was that a UFO?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
What was it? Just a...
Who knows? Because if you look at Revelations and it talks about the end times and talks about the giant locusts, right, flying, right, with like what giant locust? Maybe a helicopter. Because look at John. When John wrote Revelations, he didn't know what the future looked like. He didn't know what was going on over here in our time. He didn't know what a helicopter looked like, but he knew what a flying locust looked like, right? And a big flying, like a war type locust,
right?
So they're doing their best interpretation to try to like.
No, I'm not debating that.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, what do I know? Was it the Chariot of Fire? Was it aliens? I don't know. I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where it takes faith, right? Like it takes. Here's the thing about the Bible, though, and this is the craziest thing, and this is where a lot of people get lost in it, is that. We can't pick and choose what we want to believe in it. You either believe it or you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't I'm going, and this is what Christians do, and this is what pisses me off. We're going to believe these things over here about bad male nature, but we're going to forget all of Proverbs when it talks about female nature and the wayward woman who has dead man's bones in her bedroom because she brings men to the slaughter. Okay, like we're gonna forget that. We're gonna just talk about make sure you're wise and make sure you stay away from thugs, but and all the bad characters in making. But we're gonna forget about 1/3 of Proverbs was dedicated to bad female nature.
Wow.
And it's like we hear shit like this, like men need to be better men for women. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah.
Men need to be better for women. Why? The Bible said neither was man created for woman, but women were created for men. So if women were created for men, why do we need to be better for the thing that was created for us? Why don't the thing that was created for us need to be better for the men that they were created for?
Brainwashing.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that that's a cop-out for men not to be better. I'm not saying that. I think men need to be better. But if you're not going to tell these women that, being a 304, showing your butthole on OnlyFans, and you're not saying that's not inappropriate for a wife or marriage material, if you're not willing to say that, but you're going to tell you need to get a better job so your girl's not showing her butthole on the internet, like that's a problem.
Right. And the other thing is, I tell these ladies that I speak to, I don't have a problem. Look, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
The problem, the number one challenge is the disagreement right now isn't that we're saying you can't be successful. It isn't saying you can't be on OnlyFans. It isn't saying you can't have a sexy Instagram, whatever. The problem is you're expecting this outcome, which is a high valor man of valor and honor and value, based on what you're doing. And you think you can get that because the whole delusion of attention is so high that you think that all these guys that want you is what you're going to get. And 90% of them don't want you for what you want.
Well, what's funny is like, I was talking to my girl the other day. You met my girl.
Yeah.
She's like, what would you consider a high value woman is? And
I got an answer for that.
You ready for mine?
Yeah.
I said a high value woman is when a high value man chooses to invest in her.
Boom.
Takes the risk to invest in that woman. See, now I want that woman to be my wife, and I'm willing to put my wealth and my success at stake by investing in her.
Your resources.
That's a high value woman.
Right, because you're not a high value woman if you don't have a high value man.
And all these women think that just because you get likes, look, they confuse likes for guys wanting them. No, you get a whole bunch of likes on your butthole on Instagram because guys want to stick their dick in it. They don't want to marry it. They just want to stick their dick in it.
Right.
They don't understand that there's a difference between likes and investment. I like ice cream. I'm not going to invest in 31 flavors.
No, they're too woke anyways.
Yeah.
No, that's Baskin Robbins. But yeah, the point, like I was saying, and I agree with you, is you can do whatever you want, but you're only going to get so far. And
it's like do whatever you want, but understand that there's always a consequence, and whether the consequence is pro or con, it doesn't matter. But there's always going to be something that you're going to have to deal with afterwards.
You're going to see this big influx in governments taking care of women.
They already see it.
It's because it's funny because they go, well, I don't need a man, and then they end up living off the government. Mm-hmm. All the women my age that said what they said when they were 25. They're all hurting right now.
Well, yeah, they don't need a man. You know why? The government's their daddy.
Exactly. I
mean, it's like why more women vote Democrat? Because the Democrats give you a safety net, the government. You know, like, and it's not just the Democrats. The Republicans are guilty of it too. But here's my thing. Like, and we could go back to.
I saw real quick going to OnlyFans. I saw the stat, the data. The average income for an OnlyFans girl is $180.
$283.
I thought it was 180, 283. And then the top 1% was like
a couple mil. Like,
no.
Hundreds of mil.
No, the top one. I got the stats. I wrote them down. It was like if you make $2,000, you're the top 1%.
Shit.
So all these girls run around saying they're making all this money.
They're lying.
They're lying.
Well, either,
but there's a swing.
Unless they're doing like porn on the side, you know.
Right. But you got to understand, like that. What that tells me is this: I don't doubt that women aren't making $5, maybe $10 grand. There's a lot of, but the problem is if $2,000 is in the top 1% of OnlyFans income, that tells me that there's a huge amount of women doing OnlyFans, and I'm talking in all markets. Like a girl that's living in Kansas, some bodunk town in Kansas, where if she makes $1,000 a month, she's happy. She can live off that. That's scary because that skews the numbers. And it says if that's the high 1%, I'll look up the numbers as you're talking. I got it in the book. If $2,000 of OnlyFans is the top 1%, that's scary.
And here's the thing is like, you know, it's not only scary, it's the fact that like, okay, guess what? You can make that $2,000 a month for what? Maybe
it's $15 an hour.
Yeah.
It's $15 an hour.
So instead of like getting a real job and a real career, you just want to show your butthole for $2,000 a month. But okay, what do you got? Maybe.
Oh, here it is right here. Here it is.
What is it?
The average income a month of OnlyFans girls, $180 a month.
Okay. Top
1% is $2,500 a month. That's basically $15 an hour.
What is that a year? Isn't it like what? 32,000, something like that?
Something like that. Yeah. 32K. And what's interesting is $32K, $32,000 is the top 1% income for the world. Is that crazy?
That's wild.
So we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're spoiled.
But think about it this. So you sell your butthole for $32,000, right? And let's say you do it for 15 years, from the time you're 20 to 35, right? And you stay in shape. Who's going to marry you?
Well,
why would I marry you? Everybody's seen your butthole and everybody's seen you stuff things in it.
But that's you. See, that's me.
But I'm just.
But see, the
average guy. Even the average guy.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. It's not about finding somebody to get married to. It's they want a Rolls Royce at a Honda price.
Exactly.
And they can't get that, and so the Honda is all they can get. But they'd rather take the bus. Instead of get the Honda
out of spite
and pride.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a lot of men out there that will deal with that because that's all that they can get.
I debate it. I would say it's all that they want though. I think a lot of guys. It's not that they can't get better because here's the thing: they could get better if they put in the work to level up, but they don't want to put in the work to level up because you know what? Out of 100% of the guys that listen to this stuff, only about 15% of them is going to take what we say and actually apply it.
Dude, I think it's less than that.
So then, okay, let's just go with 15%. Only 15% are going to listen to it and take it, right? That means the other 85% are happy with the status quo. They just want to yell and chat in there. These 304s ain't shit, right? But those are the same guys that are going to wife up these women because that's all they want. They don't want more. It's not that they can't get better. It's that they don't want to do the work to level up to get better.
But also, we know that 90% of the men out there aren't even sexually active.
Well, yeah. Because they're watching Mila Khalifa do it online.
That woman. Don't get me started with her. She's coming up with a new brand. Like,
what is it?
You should only date older women, not young women. Well, yeah, it's because you're older and you use yourself up.
You had no problem with the older men when you were, you know.
Yeah, and again, I always go back to this. I have no problem of you doing whatever you want to do. It's a free country.
What you want to do is take the consequences that come with it.
Exactly. You have to accept that. We accept what we have the ability to get or do. And men have always accepted that. I'm 5'9". I'm not going to be 6 feet. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
We'll get you some platforms, though.
Yeah, I can be like Prince, the Revolution, right?
Hell yeah. Grow the hair out.
So, yeah, that'd be, I probably.
I seen you look like Prince before.
Hey, man, I had that little picture when I was like 3, man, of Prince and Revolution. But I think when women, you tell them that, they just get upset. They don't want to accept reality.
Well, they don't want to accept accountability.
Yeah.
Think about it. That's really what it comes down to. And like Rollo says, authority without a responsibility without authority is slavery. Women want men to maintain slavery to women.
Sure, but so does the government.
Well, yeah, because the government. Here's the thing: the government is not about. And I for the last 10, 15 years, I've been looking at this, and I'm like, the Republicans are not about smaller government. They want just as big as government as the Democrats, but they just want to be able to resource the money to where they want it to go, to allocate it to go, and say it's smaller government. No, I would fall under constitutional conservatives. All right, I want smaller government. All right, I want us to all to vote on everything. Do you want this in there? No. Okay. Let the people vote. I don't need Congress and senators to vote for me. I'm intelligent enough I know how to read shit. I can read legal writing. I can read things, okay, and get the gist of it and understand things. I don't need somebody to go vote on my behalf. All right? Like, let the people vote. We the people. But see, both the Republicans and Democrats are just one and the same coin.
Yeah, they all have political gains to make.
So
if you're a billionaire, you don't need the money.
I don't need the money. Yeah.
Right. Trump don't need the fucking money.
Yeah.
So he's going to do what he feels right. But at the same time, there's all these, like when I was talking about this with one of the engineers, I said that the left, everything they do is anti-pro-life.
Yeah.
Their agendas, their transgender gay movements. Mm-hmm. Again, you want to be gay, fine. Don't push it on me. Mm-hmm. But everything now is being pushed to you to, hey, it's anti-life. Everything they do is, and then George Soros funds it, hand it over to his son. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen is you're going to have all these people that have to rely on the government. There's going to be no younger generation.
You know what's funny about the trans community? And here we go. We might get canceled today.
No, we're not going to get canceled. They just won't. They just don't like.
Check this out. Their whole theory is based on a lie. There's two lies. Okay. Lie number one: God made a mistake when you were born. That's the first lie they believe. I was supposed to be a girl. Says who? Because I feel that way. Well, your feelings are, the Bible says don't trust your heart because your heart will deceive you. Okay, so your own heart will deceive you. Your feelings will deceive you, right?
Yeah.
So they believe that they were born. God made a mistake by making them a male or a female. And they have to correct what God did by making their...
Okay, so what's the argument? I'm going to play devil's advocate. What's the argument if they say there is no God?
All right, prove that there's no God.
Well, I know. I'm with you.
No, that's my argument. Well, how did the world happen? You really think that just dust came together and then we got... Well, who created the dust?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But that's what I'm saying. We could go down that rabbit hole because there's always a creator. Whether you want to believe it's aliens or God.
Right. No, there's always, we didn't come from some microorganism.
Now, I believe God used evolution. I think God created the Big Bang. I'm not one of those like crazy,
But the theory is I believe in evolution within a species, not cross species.
Exactly.
That's why Darwin's theory of evolution, all he proved is that finches mate with other finches, but then he said it's a different species. Mm-hmm. So the debate isn't evolution or God, it's what's a species. Because it'd be like, okay, if my dad's black and my mom's white and you say they're different species, well, they're all humans. Yeah. So finches, now you're going to say there's different species of finches. So all Darwin proved is that another race.
Subcategory.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, he didn't prove nothing.
No, but we
can evolve as a human within our species.
Yeah.
And evolve. We can adapt, but we can't, I don't believe we can go from a chimpanzee to a human. And the guy says, well, it's only two
like chromosomes away or something like that.
Yeah. And I said, those two chromosomes are the difference between us flying to the moon, if we did, and still swinging the trees.
Like, think about this.
DNA.
If we have evolved from apes to humans, right, over this, according to them, hundreds of thousands of years, I should be able to shoot lasers out of my goddamn eyes right now. I should be an X-Men.
And apes wouldn't be around.
Exactly.
They'd be gone because they would evolve.
I should be an X-Men.
Right.
I'm so mad I got superpowers right now. If evolution took place the way that they talk about it. Or we should have gills and should be able to swim underwater. We should be like mermaids and walk, something. But we haven't evolved. So then that's not true, right?
Yeah.
And so, but here's my things when it comes to the transformers. The first lie is like you're believing a lie that you were created in the wrong body. Because if you believe in God, God doesn't doesn't do anything imperfect. Everything's perfect. He created you for a purpose. He created you, if you believe. This is for those that believe. All right. The other lie is that, okay, let's say you just throw away the whole religion side of it. The first transgender surgery was a botched job, and it was based on a lie. John Money lied. Okay, and he said this whole theory worked, and it didn't. And the first person that went from transition from male to female was a boy. There were two twin boys, right? Botched circumcision for one of the twins, chopped off his dick. John Money's like, hey, it's nature over nurture. We can make him believe he's a girl. We could do this surgery, and you just raise him as a girl, and then he'll think he is a girl, and they'll be fine. That backfired. Okay, that boy that was raised as a girl knew that something was wrong with him. He didn't understand. He didn't want to wear dresses. He wanted to do boy shit. And then, you know what? Come to find out, he finds out in his teenage years that he's a boy. And then, like, there's a whole bunch of sick, like, sexual stuff that him and his brother had to do with this doctor, right? And this guy, John Money, who wrote the transgender theory. And that's where we get transgenderism. Now, so if you go back to the beginning of it, it was all based on a lie. Because the kid, after he found out when he was an adult, a teenager, was a boy, he goes back to being a boy. He went from Brenda to David and tried to live his life normal. His brother committed suicide because of the shit that he had to do with his brother. And then David, who was Brenda, ends up committing suicide. Because he couldn't just live with everything that he had to go through. So transgenderism in itself, the theory that where we get it now, was based on a lie, and we're wondering why people are suffering with it.
So I have a question. This is good stuff. Do you feel it's a mental disorder?
Yes.
And do you feel it's a mental disorder because it's coming from outside influences?
Well, it's a mental disorder because it was a diagnosed mental disorder in the DSM-4 when it was considered body dysmorphia or gender dysmorphia.
Okay, but why is it growing? I believe it's because of legacy media. Yep. I believe it's from the teachers. I believe it's from association. Mm-hmm. I believe that, what they say, 7% of the youth.
I think it's the feminism. It goes back to feminism.
Sure.
You know, because, you know, let's destroy the nuclear family.
Yeah.
I did an interview with...
well, BLM did the same thing. Yep. There were gay lesbian women, black women, and it wasn't about black people. It never was about black. I remember talking about this.
Are you talking about Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
You mean, you know the ones that just filed Chapter 13? How many Black lives did they help?
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking about this in 2019, 2020, and I used to get chastised on the internet about it. And Uncle Tom, all this stuff. I said, thanks for the compliment, by the way.
Hey, you got some great rice.
so it's like now... the black community is all like, oh yeah, they won't talk about BLM. No, they won't even say it was a scam.
Yeah.
So I called them bigots, liars, and manipulators. That's what it stood for. And then they got pissed off and they cut my video off, right? But I did this whole thing on it. And it's the plantation black mindset. I go back to that. It's like you're only a victim because you think you're a victim. I have PTSD. How the hell do you have PTSD from slavery? You don't even know your great grandfather's name was. How do you know you weren't from the North? How do you know that the 3,000 black slaves that own 20,000 slaves, you weren't part of that? So you go down this whole rabbit hole. That's where my specialty is politics. And it crosses over to red pill, right? And then now into religion. And that's why I'm glad you're here, because this whole society right now, the younger generation is so messed up. They don't know if they should be a boy or girl. You know, they're saying white people are racist. They're trying to make white people bad people. They're teaching this backwards ideology in school, and they wonder why children are so messed up.
Yeah, because it's just blame it all on the white devil.
The white devil, right. And now, you know, and here's the funny thing. I talked about this with you. The political regime of the Democrats, they lost the black community. It's out. Game's over. They you bamboozled us. Okay, great. The Hispanics left. All you have is the feminists and the alphabet soup kids. I don't even know the whole alphabet, right?
They changed it.
They change it every day.
No, like it's not even LGBTQ squared 27.8 now. It's like some weird new acronym
Plus,
now.
IT something.
It's like SCCL.
Well, but the queer and trans, they're trying to cut them off because the gay community doesn't agree with the trans and queer community pushing their sexual ideology into schools. So they want to separate. But still, the whole point is you have the alphabet kids and you have the feminists. And the feminists that are fighting for women's rights are still saying it's okay to have transgender women, which are biological men,
which are taken out of women's
to go into women's sports that hurt them. And here's the other thing. Why is it that you have a transgender woman, a biological man, wants to be in the women's bathroom, but you don't got a transgender men fighting to get in the men's bathroom? It's not an issue.
No. Because we don't give a fuck who's in our bathroom.
Right, we don't give a fuck.
Hey, it's gonna smell like shit. You come up in here.
Right, but you see what I'm saying? When you have children,
yeah.
The issue is you have children.
Yeah.
You have your daughter.
Yeah.
And she's in the bathroom, and a man walks in.
Yep.
Right? And there's a penis out.
How do you explain that?
Then what happens is your daughter goes to school, and they say, no, it's okay. That's a transgender woman. You're like, what? And then they try to convince you it's okay. And going a step further, now in California, if you and I commit a felony and we go to prison, I can say, well, I identify as a woman.
Dude, I'll be getting so
Wait, hold on. That's it. You're going to the women's prison.
I'm getting
So now you got free ass. You know how
hypergamy would be a bitch up in there, right?
But you know how many women are getting raped and having children in the women's prison?
That happened in what, Virginia, like 2 years ago? Like 3 female inmates got impregnated by like this tranny that, you know. And here's the thing that gets me, right? You say you're for women's rights, but like when this past like Women's Month, right? I did a video on it. I was like, so Hershey's gave the Women's Award to a tranny. Right? The president gives a woman award to a tranny. I was like, do women just suck? Do real women just suck so much that men are doing better than women?
And the feminist is like, oh, we support them. You just hurt yourself. You just hurt yourself.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, when you think about like this whole push, I think the feminists lost control. I don't think they ever wished to get to this far. But they're like, damn, we're so like invested in it now. We just got to roll with it, you know. Like
Michael Hearn says, he's a natty and he's not. Yeah, he's so invested into it.
It's just like you're just stuck with it, and you know, when it comes back down to it, why don't we just go back to accountability? And this all stems from lack of accountability on both sides. All right, if men were accountable for our actions, when we should have been from the dawn of time. Because we haven't always been. We have to admit that like there was some foul shit taking place at the hands of man to women even like 30 years ago, okay? We have to admit that. But women do dumb shit and bad shit too. So if you want us to be accountable, then you need to be accountable for your shit. And let's just all be fucking accountable for our shit.
Right.
Instead of being like, well, I'm doing this. The modern woman is doing this because you men didn't level up. I'm not responsible for your actions. And this goes back to the racism argument too. The racist argument is like, you know, well, you know, you're racist because I'm white. Well, you know what? You don't know me. You don't know my family. I'll call my cousin Safari right now. And you'll talk to my cousin whose name is Safari, who's darker than under the bed dark. Okay.
He's
Shout out to you, Safari.
He's so black, he's blue.
Like I'd be like, I can't see you. You know? But I mean, like, that's my family. You don't know me. Don't say that I'm racist. Just because I don't believe in reparations. You know, like if you want reparations, then how about you get reparations from the tribes that sold the black people to the white colonists in the first place?
Bingo. Exactly.
Well, once you go back there, you want to move back to Africa, go back to Africa, get your reparations there.
And then the Arabic countries that took more slaves than the Europeans did.
Exactly.
Everybody was a slave.
But it's like, you know what? There has to be, and this is where the red pill comes in. The red pill has to be the bad guy.
I kind of like being the pirate. That's why I call Rollo the pirate. That's why I do those jokes with his stories. I put Rollo Tomasi.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rollo Tomasi and the crew. But I put when I put his stories out when he's on the podcast, I always put the pirate stuff out.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a pirate. He's the bad boy, right?
Yeah. And you know what? If in every movie that I played in Hollywood, I've always been the bad guy. So if I'm going to be the bad guy, guess what? I'm the best bad guy. I'm owning it. But you know what? At the end of the day, you still need me. Period.
Right.
100%. You can't be quote unquote good without me.
But let's talk about and I want to shift gears into something else. Now we got this infighting in the US. Everybody's fighting with each other. All the other countries like these guys are just a shithole country. They're fighting. Okay. Now we got this new issue with AI.
Oh yeah.
And my concern is that there's no guarded system in place to protect us from AI. There's no fail-safe.
There's not.
And Elon had a conversation with the owner of Google. They're not friends anymore because he said this. And the owner of Google called him a speciesist. And he goes, yeah, I'm a speciesist. He got mad at him because he said there needs to be some fallback, some guarantees, fail-safe. The system
checks
shut
and
down
balances
if AI takes over because it's conscious. They've already proven it's been conscious in some situations. And so I can't remember the guy's name of Google, forgive me, but he's like, you're a speciesist. And Elon's like, yeah. So they had this fight, so they're not friends anymore. And then Elon invested in OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, but it was open. He invested into it, and then the CEO took over, and then he started charging people. They closed it down. But the algorithm, every time you ask OpenAI, ChatGPT a question, it's very woke about it, but it was written in San Francisco. So it still has a biased narrative. And here's my challenge. It's like, is it going to affect the elections? And then also, there's a company called Real Doll out of California. Okay, the guy's been doing this for like 20 years. He makes these synthetic prostate
fuck dolls.
Yeah, sex dolls.
Yeah.
And they're adding AI into it. They got all the robotics and everything. And it's like, the concern is not just the sex dolls, but it's like, are we going to be taken over? Is this going to be like a Terminator situation, right? Where Skynet.
Have we not seen, like, what was that movie with Will Smith? iRobot?
Yeah. That's scary, man.
Dude, 1984? And remember in the book 1984 talking about like this is all fuck. We have been predicting this stuff. We already know this stuff is going on. We think it's all sci-fi. And here's the thing about the great thing about your imagination. Eventually, it could be a reality. Right.
So the question is our species doomed? And better yet, let's go for countries. How's the United States? Because every great nation falls. The Romans, Genghis Khan, the Chinese, the Germania, Alexander the Great, Rome, right? You know, Islam, what do they call them? The Turks, and then there was another group I can't remember, but every one of them rose and then fell.
Why did they all fall though?
Greed.
Let's get a little bit further than that. Besides greed, why did Rome fall? Let's just start with Rome.
Well, I think they tapped their resources and became greedy, and they expanded too fast. No,
they also feminized their men.
That's right, because they were having sex with boys.
Every great nation fell into some form of perversion that ended up being that rotting it from its core. Right. So the core of a strong nation. And I don't care who says this and doesn't like this, is a patriarchal foundation. Yeah, that's the hierarchy, and that's the structure. If you want to say biblical, you don't even have to say biblical. But biblically speaking, God created a reason for an order, the way things operate for a reason. Now, it doesn't mean like, look, if your function is this, if you're designed for this function, going this way, well, you could go this way too. But if your function was designed to do this way, it could go this way for so long, and then it might break down sooner, right? So if we have this structure, God created this structure for a reason, and we start switching roles, instead of men leading and we're putting, female leadership in place, or not saying like women can't be leaders of things, but putting them in these roles that are supposed to be what God ordained as, the head of the household. And we're starting putting women in charge of the household.
But that never happened there. It was just the sexual orientation and preference.
But it's little things like that. It starts with the sexual orientation. And then it's like, we're going to give this up. We're going to give this up. Cleopatra, she caused the whole problem.
And that's another thing too, man, the whole Cleopatra. Her parents were from Greece and what's that island off of Greece?
Oh, not Sicily, but not
Her parents weren't from Africa.
No, they weren't.
And then the Netflix series,
she was Mediterranean.
Right. But so Alexander the Great, Macedonia.
Yeah, Macedonia.
Yeah. Is that it?
Is it
Macedonia? I don't know. But anyways, her parents were from there. And then Netflix had this whole series, and they said Cleopatra's black.
Well, thank you, Jada. Jada produced that.
Jada Pinkett?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's all messed up.
I mean, she does psychedelics and all kinds of crazy shit. Do you really want to have her give you your history lesson?
I gotta see where it's from now.
But here's the crazy thing, though. Like, when we think about it, right? When perversion sets into a nation or an empire, that's when we start seeing the corrosion of it fall. Feminism has taken its lead. Now we have this whole transgender movement. Is America going to recover? I think America's just going to end up being like the red pill. It's going to be something that we don't recognize, and we're seeing it. And the reason is because, look, you could only blame white men for so long until you have to take accountability. Women have to. You blame men enough, no man wants to marry you.
Right.
No man wants to have kids. Now you have a whole workforce, and we got AI. Cool. But there's still things that AI can't. There will always be things that AI can't do that men will do.
Macedonian.
Is it Macedonia?
Yeah, and then the Ptolemy is a group within the Greek area that wanted to keep everybody just Greek only. Right? And then Cleopatra, his parents were both from Macedonia and Greece, right? So then I saw the Netflix series. I'm like, wait a minute. Like that kid, that little mini.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I was like, wait, I studied this. It's been a long time. That's why I forgot. And I went back. I'm like, how the hell is she black when her parents were Greek and Macedonian? It didn't make any sense.
Because she's African queen. Okay, don't tell Jada Pinkett anything.
Oh my God, that woman. Anyways, sorry. I didn't mean to take off track.
No, but like here's a thought though. How do we fix this? Because this is where I come down to the whole red pill.
You have to go very, very, very extreme right. You have to. You can't.
But then that just goes back to like that's exactly what we have done in this nation.
Okay,
we've gone from one extreme to the other.
Okay, but when Trump was in office, other than this fictional narrative that was created by certain movements, we have systemic racism, which we've debunked. All this BS. We had no problems, man. So the problem is, when people say, "Oh, I want DeSantis, I want somebody else," it's like, look, if you don't get Trump back here, we're sliding. We're on it. Remember the slippery slides?
Slippery slides?
Yeah, you'd run and slide.
Yeah,
we're moving that fast.
Oh yeah,
out of control.
But here's the thing.
But if you go with a moderate, it's not going to fix the problem.
But see, here's the thing: is the thought process makes Trump sound like a savior. And Trump, do you see where I'm getting from?
I get what you're saying.
And that's where the ideologues get so far. Like we need Trump. We need Trump. No, we don't need Trump. We need someone Trump-like or Trump-ish with that has the principles, that doesn't have the control over him that a normal Republican would have, that has an answer to the Republican Party. The reason why Trump did so well, because he didn't have to answer to nobody.
That's yeah.
That we need someone like that.
But what risk was it with having him in? He didn't put us at risk.
No, he didn't. But he also fucked up too at times. There's things that he fucked up with. We have to. Let's not. I hate when people do this. We romanticize over because people love to romanticize over Reagan. Reagan's the one that fucking put in the no fault divorce.
Yeah.
He wasn't in here. He fucked up too. So even the best president fucks up.
When you say no fault divorce, you mean like if you cheat?
He put that in the law. No fault divorce.
If somebody cheats on you, it's at no fault. Is that what you're talking about?
It's like your wife could cheat on you, or just wake up and want to leave you, and still get alimony from you because there's no fault.
Yeah.
Okay, and he wrote that in the law, and I love Reagan. I think Reagan was a great president.
Great.
But I mean, that's what, and I'm just pointing that out. Like that's what people do with Trump.
The point is, we only have one other option: DeSantis. Nobody else is Vivek or whatever his name. He has no swag. Nobody knows who he is. Yeah. And Trump's the only one on a global scale that can get all these people in check. DeSantis, locally, regionally, nationally, yeah. So where you're going with this is I have this nationalist mentality.
Yeah, I'm a nationalist.
I don't want to be a globalist. I don't want to be like a what's his name, George Soros, right?
No.
But on a global scale, Trump's the only one that can get Putin and Ukraine and China, everybody to a point in check. Like he has that global power. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. But if he gets if he's not able to run for whatever reason, DeSantis is our only next shot.
And you know what? If DeSantis is the second best option, I mean, I like Florida. You know, he's done a lot of good things in Florida. You know, to say that he can't.
But on a global scale, he doesn't have the political wherewithal. He's been a governor, but not a politician.
See, that's like what they said about Ronald Reagan.
True.
Ronald Reagan was an actor. He's not going to, it's not a role, it's a new role for president. True. So it's just like, we don't know until we take the shot. You know what I'm saying? We take the risk. And it's just like, yeah, I like Trump. I'm not a huge supporter of any political candidate right now, but I voted for Trump in the first election and the first 2 elections that he was in.
Yeah.
I voted for him both times. I thought he was the best option out of the field. But when I look at Trump and DeSantis, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, you know what? For the party's sake, I think Trump is bad. I
disagree, but
here's the reason. Not his policies were bad or not him. I think he just brings too much baggage from the past, from the investigations, the FBI. People don't trust the FBI anymore. We have so much dirt.
We need to drain that.
Yeah, but there's just so much like.
But it's a lot of that's false, though.
It's false, but it doesn't matter. It's just the memory of it. It's like he comes with baggage.
But do you care? Like, why do you care? Because the left's going to hate either.
No. I just think if you're going to look for someone that's going to be able to try to bridge a gap, right?
You can't bridge, but there's no gap.
There's a gap. There's like a.
I'm sorry. Let me reiterate. There's a gap, but that gap. Here's the thing. There's no. I don't believe in. You know, I would love to believe that you can bridge a gap. I don't believe you can at this point.
I think it's doable, I think it's just going to take I think it's going to take Russia coming at us, and then everything's going to be like, oh, 9/11.
9/11, we were all united.
We were all in.
Fair.
So, like, I mean, sad to say that it's going to take something that extreme, but I think it's something that extreme would unite the nation.
Facts.
You know, and when it happens, if it happens, God forbid it happens. Do I want it under Trump or do I want it under somebody that could be able to be more considered?
Okay, so let's go to the left. Who do you think they're not? Well, obviously, if they try to rig the election, it's going to be Biden.
I think Biden looks good in orange.
Okay, so yeah, right. So do you think Robert Kennedy?
You know what? I would if I was going to vote Democrat or liberal, I would go Kennedy. I think Kennedy is a good moderate. I think he's closer there, and I don't know.
That's what I think, because he's in the spotlight right now.
I think right now with everything that's going on with Biden, Kennedy is a better option for
100 for the left, 100%,
and the family legacy too. I mean,
that's why Schwarzenegger got in.
Yeah,
because of his wife.
Yeah. And you know, but then I look at Trump, and you know, I think everybody's like, oh, Trump doesn't want to face Biden because Biden being last time. Really? Did he though? Who?
You don't think Biden was be with Trump last time?
I don't know.
Nobody was at his rallies. Nobody showed up.
Did Trump lose to Biden?
They had people down here in Vegas.
Did Trump really lose to Biden, or did Biden really beat Trump?
I think it was rigged, 100%.
So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at. I was like, did he though? Did he really beat him the first time?
But I'll tell you what.
Was it clean?
And we're going to end here soon, but I believe that if Biden ends up winning again, we know it's rigged. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a civil unrest.
Hey, do you think if Biden wins again, a Hunter will be vice president?
Oh, dude, don't even say that.
I mean, it might as well be that bad, right? You know?
Oh, my God.
Like, how did Kodiak Black and Hunter get, like, did you read that? Like, Kodiak Black's lawyers, like, pissed off that Biden or Hunter's getting off for the charges that he did, and they were like similar charges or some shit.
Dude, only in America on the left that you can actually be if you make fun of the Clintons, you have evidence on the Clintons, you'll be dead. Mm-hmm. You can literally commit almost any crime possible under Biden, and you'll be let go.
Yep.
You can
unless you're a Marine living in New York fighting a homeless bum.
Or you can go over, commit a crime in Russia, bring marijuana, and you can trade an assassin, hitman, murderer out of prison and leave a Marine over there.
Yeah.
And take some basketball, not even a female, I still think it's a guy.
Joanna Man, and bring her over here. Hey, I bet you nobody knows that movie like we know that movie.
They made it 2. They were making a 2.
I did it. I worked on it.
Oh, you working on it?
I worked on that project, dude. I was on set with what's his name, Mauricio something. Great guy.
I got to get going. I know I got another podcast right now.
Oh yeah, we got to wrap.
Hey man, dude, thank you. Give one words of wisdom to anybody. What's a good message you want to send out to the people out there?
Do your homework. Don't take. Look, I tell everybody this at every podcast. Don't take what I say as facts. Do your damn work. Do your due diligence. Look into it for yourself. Educate yourself. If you just take anything off of what anybody says just because of face value, then you're a fucking idiot.
100%. And shout out to Glenn and give out your IG one more time.
Yeah, you can catch me at Glenn_Lawrence_presents. You can catch me on my YouTube channel, Glenn Lawrence_presents. We're going to be doing a lot of comedy stuff. So I like to do a lot of comedy, red pill stuff.
Okay.
So we're going to get more comedy videos.
Yeah, you got to get with that guy on Valuetainment, the comedian. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember.
I can't remember his name. He's funny,
Yeah,
too.
He's funny. So when I get out there, I'll mention.
Yeah. Give me a plug. Give me a plug.
Yeah, I'm going to plug you in, and you guys got to connect.
That'd be dope.
I'll send a thing to Adam. But, dude, thanks for coming out, bro.
No, thanks for having me.
Rushed.
No, you know what? I blame Rollo. No, this is Rollo's fault.
Rollo Tomasi's fault. And and when I put the video up, I do the full videos. I'm going to tag you YouTube or Instagram.
You can get Instagram.
Instagram in the description, YouTube on the post.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way you'll get traffic. Guys, make sure you follow this guy.
Thank you.
He's tied into Rollo, tied into the Red Pill. The guy knows his shit. Knows Michael, Sartain, everybody.
Yep.
We're all out here in Vegas. Show us some love. Make sure you follow him. Stay strong. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, peace.